Scott, thank you for joining us. A very exciting game to come this weekend against Wrexham. Can I just get your thoughts as we approach that one?
Obviously a very tough game. They've got some very good players. They've got some attacking threats, obviously. Watched them at length yesterday in 2 or 3 games, or two and a half games. Got a real measure of what needs to be done against them. But yeah, it's going to be a tough game, obviously. They're a lot talked about, and they've come into the league having got an incredible amount of points last season in the National League, and started this season kind of indifferent in many ways. But listen, they're a very, very, very strong side, and we're going to have to be completely focused and completely at it in order for us to get anything from the game.
Yeah, and I suppose it's a testament to us that they're probably sitting there saying very similar things about Crawley. We spoke a lot about how at the start of the season they would have been one of the ones predicted to win the league, but currently we sit above them in the league. So I suppose that's a testament to the players' hard work as well as yourself. Of
course, yeah, but like I've said before in previous interviews, that it is just a start. It's my job now to make sure that we maintain that start. And obviously off the back of a poor result at Doncaster, we've had a real positive kind of day today. Good meeting with the players, good debrief session. We know what we've got to do moving forward. So yeah, we're in a good place. We've done incredibly well. Good start to the season, but like I say, it is just a start.
Yeah, and after the result at Doncaster, do you think this is a sort of perfect game to sort of get our teeth stuck into, a real tough test, and what is going to be in front of a sellout crowd as well?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, listen, we always like our games at home. We do well at home. We back ourselves against anybody at home. So it's a good game for us. Like I say, I watched them at length yesterday. They have some real threats, but also we think that we can hurt them as well. So let's see how we go.
Yeah, and we've spoken a lot about how this is a tough place to come, and I'm sure Phil Parkinson's sitting there with his squad and saying that is exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be a tough test, and I suppose the crowd can have a big impact on that, especially considering it is a sellout.
Yeah, no, it'd be good to walk out and see the fans again. They'll be in good voice, hopefully, and well, they will be. I know they will be. And hopefully we can give them something to sing about at the end of the game. We're looking forward to the game. We want to play kind of our style of football against a real strong side, and we're not going to change just because we're playing Wrexham. We'll continue doing what we do, and hopefully do it as well as we can do. If we're our best version of ourselves, then I'm sure we'll get something from the game.
How's the squad looking? Obviously, we saw some changes made on Tuesday night, but unfortunately we lost Liam Kelly at half-time. What is the squad sort of fitness looking like for the weekend?
Yeah, really good. In terms of the players rested, we'll benefit from that obviously on Saturday. We obviously missed them, but we will see the benefit of that moving forward. It's one of them where we could have potentially played all 3, but then there's a chance that we then have them missing for large parts of the season, which we don't want. We'd sooner have them players available for 85-90% of the season as opposed to 60%. And I've got to pick and choose my moments and my times to rest. I'm pleased with the squad. I think that it was clear to see, forget the result, I think it was clear to see that the players who come in are just as strong as the players that kind of left. We go after performances here. Performances are key, and the result is just a byproduct of how we perform. And I thought we performed really well in large parts of Tuesday night's game. The first goal was a moment we didn't defend very well, and there was other moments we didn't defend very well. The penalty wasn't a penalty in my opinion, and we probably didn't create as much clear cut as we wanted. But in all fairness, I think that the boys done all right. The boys done okay. People are saying to me it's a bump in the road and it's a blip. It's not a blip. It's normal. It's normal to lose football matches. A blip's when you lose 3 or 4 on the bounce, and probably even more than that. But this isn't a blip. This is just normal. We just got to make sure that we react properly going into Saturday's game.
And one thing I suppose that we didn't mention was the return of Kellen Gordon. I mean, it's obviously great to see him back after he got injured in the NK Dons game, which seems like an age ago now. So it must be good. But then also he's going to have a hard time getting in because Ronan Darcy's been putting in some splendid performances at right wing back, hasn't he?
Yeah, Kellen's worked really hard to get back to full fitness, and I think he's been chomping at the bit to be part of the squad. I think that it's one of them where the squad and the side have done so well that we couldn't shoehorn him in, and of course, when I left 3 players at home on Tuesday night, it was an opportunity for him to be part of it, and then obviously he got on the pitch as well, so pleased for that. So yeah, we'll see and kind of look at Kellen going forward and see how we go with it. But we're desperate to get him back in, but at the moment the boys who are playing really well and doing well.
And I suppose we've just learned that the Morecambe game is going to be called off due to them having international call-ups. Is that good news for you? And what is a good amount of fixtures already in October? Is it nice to sort of have a weekend where you can go, right, that's a week that, other than the Senior Cup game that we got, that we can get some more minutes into the legs? Or is that going to be sort of an inconvenience down the road when it inevitably gets rearranged? Yeah,
I see it as an inconvenience. I would have sooner have played the game, if I'm honest with you, especially with the way we're playing at the moment. I would have liked to have gone and continued that. But it's a break, and we take it. It is what it is. It's not ideal, but we'll use it as an opportunity for us to kind of have a weekend where the players can go and see their families, the ones who live away, and to rest a little bit, because it's been tough. We've had some real kind of early mornings, and late starts and late travels and getting back. I think we got back. I walked through my door at 4 o'clock in the morning from Doncaster, on Wednesday. So the players would have done the same. So there's been a couple of long ones like that. So we take it as opportunity to rest the players. And I'll make no changes in terms of what I was going to do for the Sutton game next week anyway. I still kind of want to give players game time for that game anyway.
Scott, Wrexham, they're a side like yourselves that scored a lot of goals but have also conceded quite a few goals. When you're preparing for a side like that, is there a element that you focus more on, like stopping their goals, or you trying to score more goals when you prepare?
We always look at everything, if I'm honest with you. I'll watch them at real kind of depth. I remember watching sort of like their game when they played Crewe yesterday, and I watched the first 20 minutes of the game, and the first 20 minutes probably took me nearly an hour and a half to watch, because I want to kind of watch their movements, their detail in how they play. How can we press them? I kind of strategically look at it, and with a tactics board next to me, and I think about the detail of how we can, stop them. Then I also look at, on the flip side of that, look at where the gaps are, where the spaces are, where we can hurt them. So it's kind of done, over a long period of time. A 90-minute game, for argument's sake, could take up to 4 hours to watch properly. In terms of stopping it, clipping it, rewinding it, watching it again, pausing it, writing notes down, looking at your tactics board, and kind of really thinking about how we can, stop their threats, but also how we can hurt them. So yeah, both really.
Yeah,
and but a great question.
Yeah, thank you. Obviously, Wrexham are a team that garner a lot of publicity. They've got the Disney Plus documentary. There is going to be cameras here from them on Saturday. Players will notice it, and that. How hard is it to keep your squad focused on the job in hand and not, because they might be a distraction for some?
My players won't notice any of that.
No,
I can guarantee you that. We will just be focusing on playing a game of football against a good side that we need to make sure that we're fully focused on that. My players won't notice any of that, neither will I.
Have you watched Welcome to Wrexham?
No.
And have you watched your favourite Ryan Reynolds film? Have you got one?
I don't watch films, so sorry. No, I'm a bit boring on that. No.
Fair enough. We've seen today Neil Harris has been sacked from Gillingham. Mark Hughes was sacked from Bradford yesterday. Obviously, are you surprised that there are changes happening this early in the season? And a second prong, you are currently 2-1 with Bet Victor for the Gillingham job. You keep saying it's a start with how Crawley started this year. Your journey with Crawley has just started, hasn't it?
Yeah, of course, yeah. No, listen, I'm fully aware of what happens in football, if the results are not right, or if the owners of that football club see that they're not right, then they make changes, unfortunately. I think that, that's just kind of the industry that we're in, I'm no different, I suppose, in many ways. You feel like every game you have to win, because that is just the industry, we have to win, we have to play well, and if you don't perform, there's a big chance that, there's an old saying in management that you're only 5 results away from being the sack, so it's unfortunate for Neil and for Mark, they're both good people. I've always kind of got on with both of them. But I'm sure you'll see them both back in the game.
Yeah, and obviously with the job you're doing here, you're sort of defying all the odds, all the predictions. Your name is probably going to be linked to a lot of jobs going forward, and that, again, similar to the question about players being distracted by cameras, is it going to be hard to sort of keep out that noise for you?
Not hard at all. Just focus on my job. You know, that's why I'm in this job, in my opinion, is because I'm fully focused. I work extremely hard in the job that I'm in. You know, I'm committed to the job that I'm in. You know, I won't listen to anything outside. I don't go on social media. I don't listen to anything anyway. I'm quite single-minded. I'm quite headstrong. And I know what I've got to do. And I understand the industry, that, you know, when you're doing well, as well as when you're doing bad. You know, when you're doing bad, you get the sack. And when you're doing well, you know, there's people will show or clubs will show an interest. I think that's normal. That's kind of a normal thing to happen in this industry. But like I say, I'll be just focused on what the job is, and that's to you know, keep performing the way we're performing, and hopefully, you know, keep winning as many games as we can.
Excellent. And just going to go back to the penalty on Tuesday night. Obviously, VAR has been in the news this week because of the Tottenham-Liverpool incident last week. What is your view on VAR, and would you welcome it in League Two?
Yeah, I think I would welcome it, because I know there's been mistakes made with the VAR, but I also think that there's a lot of good come from it. You know, I think looking at Tuesday night's penalty, I'll stand by what I said after the game. You know, I've watched it back at home. I've watched it back cold, you know, with no emotion. In my opinion, Will gets pushed really clearly. What disappointed me with it was I went in to see the referee after the game and spoke to him about it, and he said that he wasn't focusing on that kind of action. He was focusing on the ball being crossed, and as he turned, as the ball got crossed, he then saw Will bring him to the ground. So I thought, okay, so you've actually missed the first push. So he said, yeah, I was focused on the ball. But when I watched the video back, the referee's looking straight at Will as he gets pushed. So either he didn't realise what he's done or he's lied. Either one, I don't know. So disappointed with that. But I also think, looking back at the Grimsby one as well, I don't know if you remember the Grimsby one where Dan Horsey gets pulled down in the box and the ball bounces up in the air. So after the game, I went to see the referee after that game, and he said that in his opinion, he did get brought to the floor, but the ball bounced that high that Dan Horsey was never going to challenge for the ball. So it was an easy catch for the goalkeeper in a way, and Dan Horsey was never going to get the ball. So my argument to that was, you can't just bring somebody down because he's not going to get the ball. I said, what if the goalkeeper would have fallen over at that moment? Then Dan Horsey's there to tap it in. Or it's an easier catch for the goalkeeper if Dan Horsey's on the floor. So if Dan Horsey's not on the floor because he's not been brought down and he's now running towards the goalkeeper's half got one eye on the pressure and half an eye on the ball. He might drop it again. Dan Horsey taps it in. So in my opinion, it is a penalty. And this morning I got an email back from the assessor of that game and saying, yeah, I agree with you, it was a clear penalty. So, you know, at least we do get feedback. I put a report in every kind of Monday about what we've seen and, you know, detail of incidents that have happened and what I'm not happy with, and they always come back with feedback, in all fairness. And, you know, a lot of the time they kind of agree with what we're saying.
Yeah. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Oh, Ash.
Hello, Scott.
How you doing, Ash?
I apologise for any questions repeated for these ones, but could you just give us a feel for what it felt like after that Doncaster loss on Tuesday? Because leading up to the game, your side were on such strong form.
I actually said that. The first thing I said in the dressing room after the game was, remember this feeling. I actually said that to the players. Remember this feeling, because this is a feeling we don't want to have too often. It's not a nice feeling to know that we've travelled a long, long way, we've prepared properly, we've stayed overnight, we've spent a whole day in an hotel preparing and doing, you know, video kind of meetings and stuff like that for nothing, you know. So just remember what this feeling's like, boys, because we don't want this feeling very often. So, yeah, not good. But I also reiterated to the players today that it's normal to lose football matches. It is normal. Football's a low-scoring sport, and sometimes you're going to lose games. We don't want to lose that many, obviously, if any. We always set our team up to try and win every game we play in, but you're not going to win every single game you play in. You're going to lose games, but we've got to understand that that's normal, and it's how you react off that. What we don't want to happen is there to be back-to-back losses or to end up to be back-to-back losses. That's what we don't want, but that's when it becomes a bump in the road. We've had a great start, and we've had a loss on Tuesday night, and we want to put that right on Saturday.
It's been mentioned in the media. It's that time of the season. Managers are starting to get sacked from football clubs. You've said before, it's a natural part of football, really. Could you just give us a sense of how dedicated you are to Crawley and what your vision kind of is with the club?
Well, fully dedicated, obviously. I come here with the vision of, first of all, keeping them in the Football League. That was the main thing to achieve last season, which we did. And once that was achieved, it was about kind of building an environment, building a culture here at the football club that can send us on our way, up the table, bringing good people in terms of my coaching staff, bringing good people in terms of the playing staff. We got rid of players that were probably firm favourites here with the supporters. And I know a lot of supporters were disgruntled with a couple of the decisions that we made, but we felt it for the good of the club. We've brought the average age of the club down in terms of the players, obviously. And we're playing a style of football now that we can all be, very proud of. And of course, we're doing great with the results as well. We find ourselves in a healthy position in the league, and hopefully we can continue out through the season. I'm not going to make any bold statements here and saying we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But I've said it from the off that we kind of know, inside the four walls of the dressing room that what we can achieve. And just because I've been linked to another job, that nothing changes. Nothing ever changes. You just continue and focus on what your job is, and that's it.
So on the other side of things, you said earlier that sometimes in football you're only 5 games away from losing your job potentially. What is that like? Kind of waking up with that feeling? Does it ever cross your mind? Like, okay, it's been one loss now. It's been does that ever come into the back of your mind, or is that just something you're used to?
No, I think that because of kind of circumstances that have happened in my life before personally, nothing can ever be as bad as what some of the situations I've found myself in. I lost my wife to cancer 4 years ago nearly, and nothing can ever be as bad as that. So, losing your job, yeah, you don't want to, but it is a job, and whilst we all want to be very, very successful, which I certainly do, I'm very driven, I'm very focused, and I'm very hard-working, and I'll always be that. But, what, at the end of the day, there's worse things that can happen, right? You saw on Tuesday night at Leyton Orient, a fan passed away in the crowd, yeah? Is that right? Yeah. The game got stopped, and rightly so. Nothing's bigger than that, So there's worse things that happen, and I'm quite thick-skinned, and if I do go through a spell where I'm under a bit of pressure, then I'm under a bit of pressure. Can't be worse than what I've been through, is what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Onto Wrexham then. They visit the Broadfield Stadium this weekend. What have you made of them so far this season? Because there was a lot of build-up to Wrexham entering this league. I mean, some people almost assume that because of their hugely successful season last season, they were just going to kind of walk the league, but they've had moments where that's changed. What have you made of them so far?
Well, I think from my past experiences, I remember winning promotion myself from that league with Forest Green back in 2017, and we were a really good side. We were a very, very good side, and people probably thought that we would do the same, is go straight up the table in League Two. In actual fact, we finished right down the bottom end of the table, and we had to wait for the January transfer window in order for us to really strengthen and keep ourselves in the division. That jump is bigger than people think. Even though the two teams that come up in Notts County and Wrexham, very lucrative teams, and have got players on, very good contracts. I would say, but it doesn't matter. This is a very, very competitive league. A very competitive league. You saw the other night, Doncaster beat us 2-0. And Doncaster have not had a great start, but it's a tough league, and every game is very, very tough. And what have I made of Wrexham's start? Well, it's been indifferent, but you got a feeling that it's not always going to be that way. You got a feeling that they're gonna charge up the table because of the quality that they've got, on the pitch and in their squad.
And a huge part of Wrexham, not specifically the club, but in the media, is that documentary, the second edition just released. Something like that with camera crews being around the club, making a story of the season. Is that something you'd ever want at a football club you'd manage? Or is it something you got no time for?
No, I've got no time for it at all, personally, because listen, if the owners tell me that's what they're doing, that's what they're doing. I've got to go along with it, but I would prefer not, if I'm honest with you. I think we're really focused on doing the job. I work extremely hard, so does my staff, so do my players, and we really focus on that. I think if you have bits and pieces going on in the background, it can sometimes get in the way and disrupt.
Just finally, I did just want to touch on that VAR incident in the Premier League on the weekend. I know it's it's just got nothing to do with League Two, but it was big news everywhere else. What did you actually make of that VAR incident?
I didn't see it. I've got to be honest, I didn't see it. No, honestly, I didn't see it. I didn't see it, so I can't really comment because I didn't see it. I'm not somebody who watches loads of Premier League stuff. I don't I basically go home and watch us. Sorry.
Fair enough, Scott. Thank you for today. Thank you for your answer.
No problem. Thank you, Ash.